What year did you graduate?
74.
Oh yeah, so 74 you came. And so you had 2 years at the old Dowling?
Correct. 2 at the old and 2 at the new. So
Yeah.
that was fortunate about that. So.
What did you guys want to stay at the old Dowling, or did you want to come to where and go to school with the girls?
No, the girls, everything. No, we definitely. Although I'm glad I had those 2 years down there. It was quite an experience to commute from Urbandale to 10th Street, and even back then that was a tough neighborhood. So it was
I know.
Interesting.
My brother went there for 2 years, so that he would have been in your class, right? 74. Bill Kirby is my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he had good memories of being at the old Dowling, but wasn't just in disrepair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was old, and when your husband joins, I mean, things like, I played football, and the football field for the freshmen and sophomores was actually a parking lot with cinder glass and, anything the neighborhood kids wanted to throw out there was laying.
I can just imagine. Yeah, that's right. You played football. Did you swim also, or you were a football?
No, I swim like a rock. So just football, basketball.
And basketball, yeah, that's great. Well, so who was your coach, or who's the football coach?
Coach Williams.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they, I don't know if you're on Facebook. He passed away last year.
Yep.
And the football team is wearing a JW sticker on their helmets this year in honor of him.
Yeah, he was quite a guy. I was at Dale public school system, but I played in the Catholic Football League. So.
And then, do you have classmates that you keep up with now?
Yeah, I was telling Julie earlier. The last 2 years I've had 15 Dowling classmates come to a ranch that we have on the Missouri River up North Dakota, and much last year they came back this year. But next year I've talked them into going to Deadwood. It's great for them, but I'm the host, so I want to have some time with them where I'm not worried about them setting the place.
Totally. How far is Deadwood from where you are?
From Bismarck, it's about 300 miles, and from Des Moines, about 660. It'll be a similar drive from the folks in Des Moines, and they come from all over the country now. They're Atlanta, LA, and stuff. It'll be a similar drive for the Des Moines guys to go to Deadwood versus our place that they visited. So. Oh,
that is so fun. So is it a big ranch in Deadwood?
Well, we have a big ranch on the Missouri, but in Deadwood, we just rented a couple of houses and the area pretty well. So I'll show them around some of the hot spots there.
That's great. And is it hunting and fishing?
Well, at our ranch, it's pheasant hunting and fishing. So I hired a guide when these guys came up the last couple of years to get them out on the water and away from me, so I break. But in Deadwood, it'll just be the touristy stuff and maybe some biking and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's so great. You alluded to some of your football memories before. Can you talk some more about those?
Yeah, first of all, I was, I think, really blessed to attend Dowling. It was a unique experience, and I think both what I call the old and new Dowling were equally good, just different. At the old Dowling, on the freshman and sophomore football fields were old cinder, broken glass, nails, not a stitch of grass on them. So one of my first experiences with the new Dowling was all this green grass for football practices. We just believe Coach Williams was equally tough at the old and new Dowling, but we had all this lush grass to fall on versus dirt, mud, glass, whatever the neighborhood kids wanted to throw over the walls onto our football fields. So
that is a great memory. That's a great distinction.
And another thing that comes up thinking back those days was food. I mentioned I lived in Urbandale, and at the old Dowling, it was kind of a cold lunch, bring your own lunch to school type thing. And I remember actually my first day there, I was pretty nervous, and a senior came up to me and said, "If you'll pay me $10 a day, I'll make sure nobody takes your cold lunch from you." But I looked kidding, and I found out he kind of was. But Dowling, and back at the old Dowling again, I would usually, my last name is Gunderson, so we had this traditional Norwegian bologna and cheese on white bread sandwiches. And then my Italian buddies, Vic Vacco, Lou Rizzuti, Mike Capola, they would come to school with these fried egg and pepper sandwiches and olive oil dripping out of their brown paper bags, and they'd laugh at my bologna and cheese. And the reason I mention all that, when we went to the new Dowling, and then we would eat at the old Dowling, we were in a basement called the Beanery, where we would eat our lunch, our cold lunches. And at the new Dowling, we had this bright, airy windows and cheeseburgers and fries and a buffet of things you could go down and pick. And, that was quite an experience on the food side of things, to go from that dungeon at the old Dowling to this bright cafeteria, which even had a jukebox with modern rock and roll music. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here, coming from the old Dowling to the new? So those were pretty good memories. And then also, obviously, the girls, at the old Dowling, when you went to the bathroom at the old Dowling, you went there to go to the bathroom. At the new Dowling, it seems that most of the guys were going in there to check their hair and their shirt and see if their shirts were tight. And so the girls brought a whole new element of joy to the school. So it was a thrill to go out to the new Dowling.
And then I heard a story, and maybe it was just one classroom or whatever, but when school started that first year, that everybody was together, that the boys would sit on one side and the girls sat on the other. Is that true?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, all of us, see, I didn't go through that Catholic grade school system. So even years at the old Dowling, I was just getting to know my fellow male students. And then you throw us in, with all these lovely gals from St. Joe's. And, it probably took me a week just to get my chin up from looking at my shoes to say hi to a girl. So it's quite, I didn't know any of them. I didn't go up through that system, but yeah, it all worked great. We, via the cafeteria or the classes, everyone started to intermix and get to know each other pretty well.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's great. Good memory. Anything else, Greg? Those were all great.
No, again, I just want to stress that, culturally they were different. An all boys school and all girls school is going to have a different culture. But when we got together, that was a unique culture as well. And none was better or worse than the other. It was just really blessed in the class of 74, I think, to have 2 years at both and see both of them. So, I had mentioned I had 15 high school buddies come up to our ranch this summer. I mentioned that to other people and they're like, I don't even go to my high school reunions. Why are you guys so close? Why does that camaraderie still stick together? And I credit that to the culture at both the old and new Dowling, and I think that's pretty neat. And we always seem to have really good attendance at our reunions, and we've got 50 years of graduation, but great memories. It made lifelong friends there that continued to this day. And I was telling Dr. Ryan this morning, to this group that comes up from Dowling, we actually raised $5,000 for the Catholic Indian Mission that's in Fort Yates, North Dakota, one of the poorest reservations in the country up here, and help that mission, which does really great work. So, that tradition of reaching out and helping others continues. So.